the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. It is a full edition of Follow the Money today on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard. We're live in downtown Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. On tap today for the next 3 hours in 30 minutes from right now. Thomas Gable, race and sports director at the Borgata. He is in town for Bet Bash, the annual sports betting convention here at Circa. He's going to be along with Richie Baccelleri. We'll go over some college football futures, power ratings, and the future of player props, as well as pro athletes continue to get in trouble with those for some idiotic reason. Lou Finocchiaro on the UFC Best Bets coming up at 6 o'clock Eastern. Steve Wiss, Best Bets in Soccer, back end of today's program. Paulie, what do you make of tonight? Because typically I think on a Thursday, well, moving forward, certainly it's going to be like heavy NFL on Thursdays. No preseason game tonight?
Bad move.
Does that make you mad? Are you just wondering what the hell's going on?
Yeah, both.
What would your typical Thursday be if it was just you at home with Jordan, your awesome dog, and we had one game tonight? Would you just be live betting the entire thing potentially, watching it, really like making notes of the backups? What would you be doing?
Definitely watching it, yeah. And it doesn't matter who's playing. This is a swing and a miss with a light baseball card. Only 2 games tomorrow. Bad job by the NFL.
Yeah, and I mean, so busy on Saturday.
But we have a Monday night game. But that's, yeah.
Okay,
it's disappointing.
Right, so we do have one game in action right now in Major League Baseball. Still scoreless between the Blue Jays and the Cubs as they play now in the 5th inning up in Toronto. The Mariners and Orioles game has been, suspended here for a little while now. They're in the middle of a lengthy rain delay, and the Orioles were pounding the Mariners 5-0. That would be an official game if they actually call it. And at some point, they're going to have to do that because if the rains continue, because it is getaway day here, and the Mariners need to travel and get out of there, obviously. But that will be, meaningful for some if you bet the over in this game, because you're going to get a refund if it doesn't go all the way. And if you had Orioles reverse run line, that kind of stuff. The action that we had from yesterday, I heard an unbelievable stat. I really blew my doors off earlier today on the Dodgers, which I'll give you coming up in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
They're still minus 180 after another blown lead last night by that insane. It's pure insanity whenever they go to the bullpen.
Right.
And blew it again, swept by the Angels one more time. 7 straight now? Mm-hmm. Losses to the team from Anaheim. Padres impressive yet again. That was yesterday live when we were doing the draft here on the show. Dodgers minus 180 to win the division still. And by the way, our buddy Chris Massaro, Pro Better, was hanging with us watching baseball yesterday at Stadium Swim. He had a great point. He goes, because Shohei was only going at first like an inning or two, and they've gradually built it up over time. He goes, that it makes the bullpen for the Dodgers shot for like the entire week. Good point. Never thought of it from him. Mm-hmm. And the bullpen is you can't trust that bullpen as far as I can throw you right now.
Yep, and talking to everyone, and we got the tip jar coming up with Mama's Pizza, the tickets out there on the Padres. Woo! The big ones, National League, World Series, but division. I mean, this is real now that they're in first place. So there's 18-1s out there just on the division, and then 11-1 and 9-1, and just how big of a favorite that the Dodgers were not only last week, but remember 4th of July it was a 9-game lead. So power rating to the moon. Still a good-sized favorite to win it, even though they're a game behind. But 2 big series coming up in the next week, head-to-head. So there's some huge tickets out there on the Padres. And even our guy, Rich. I mean, is this guy living right? Rich in Canada, who's got the Brewers tickets and the Blue Jays tickets. Peekaboo. Oh, by the way, I got some Padres tickets also, which we'll get to come. But this guy has got everything going here with these division bets.
Sure. And I would ask you this. Now, all things are not created equally here, but the Dodgers are in that plus 210, plus 230 range to win the National League, and they have been slumping now for weeks. And I get it, books don't want to adjust too much because then team people are going to come in and bet the Dodgers at a much bigger number. But can you imagine what the number would be on the Dodgers if they were playing like Milwaukee is playing right now?
Yeah, right.
Right. I mean,
good call.
2 different 11-plus game winning streaks since the middle of July, which is unheard of in this sport. And I saw a tweet here from Codify Baseball earlier today. If you go back to June 19th, so not even 2 full months of action in Major League Baseball, The run difference for the Brewers, the run differential is plus 140. The next closest team is Boston, plus 75. They are almost doubling the second-place team in run differential in fewer than 2 months of action right now. And as bad as the Rockies have been pretty much the entire year and in that sample size, the Rockies are negative 131 in run differential since that time. Brewers plus 140. They just outscored the Pirates 33-6. And oh, by the way, that includes a game with Paul Skeens going. I saw a great email, by the way, ftm@vsin.com. If you consider this, it's happened twice to Paul Skeens in his entire career, and it's 40-plus starts now, right? Where he went fewer than 5 innings, gave up 3-plus earned runs, twice. Both starts against the Brewers last 2 months. Like, I can't even imagine, if this was the Dodgers doing this, they'd be minus $2 to win the National League.
And the 2-out Thunder. I mean, during the even if you just say, okay, you guys are so good, you get 2 outs, not 3. They're still averaging more than 5 runs a game during this winning streak.
Oh, that's completely preposterous.
Yeah. Now that's my favorite stat out of all this. Whether it's the 27-4, the sick run they're on, what they're doing offensively, the run differential, what they've done to Skeens. If you just say, okay, you're so good, you only get 2 outs. They'd still be averaging 5 runs a game with what they're doing.
And if you look at numbers like full year, and if you break it down like last couple of months, people are still doubting them. Like, it's a lot of luck going into it, because I've seen tweets on that. Like, it's not going to continue. But they're one of the best teams in baseball in every like major metric. Doesn't matter what you're talking about. Then if you go more mainstream, like the batting average is like at the very top of Major League Baseball. They've been slugging a ton of home runs, and it doesn't matter what part of the lineup you're talking about. Their on base has been phenomenal. They steal, a boatload of bases. Their pitching is basically the best in baseball, with one of the best bullpens as well. So, I've heard this 7 times in the past 3 days. They're peaking too early. Maybe. But you can say that about any team that gets blasted early in the playoffs, because that's been a running thing now for 2 or 3 years.
Yep. So how nuts do you want to get with all this? I mean, we've talked about it with the Cubs, which I'm not there, but do you think the Dodgers could miss the playoffs? That's been thrown out by some people. That is a huge ticket if that happens.
Well, I can't even imagine what that number was a month ago.
It's only 5 games. The Reds are 5 games behind the Dodgers. Now, I know they have a brutal schedule, but if you just go back and look at it, the Dodgers are a 500 team going back months. You go back and look at it, that maybe that's not crazy. The other thing that would help you out is if the Cardinals get their act together.
Yeah.
Which maybe they're just a 500 team and trading people. You just lost at home to Colorado. But that's a couple people threw that out there. I found that interesting. Like, imagine that. If the Dodgers can't even get it done, who knows? Let's revisit that next week if they lose 5 out of 6 to San Diego.
Well, here's why I'm going to say, which is possible, by the way. Here's why I'm going to say no, even though, again, I have a bet on the Reds for most wins in the month of August. It was a super high number. They had a difficult schedule. But I said this on the air, I'm like, they have so many young live arms that I got to have a piece of that big number. They're one back of the Mets right now for that National League final wildcard spot, but they do have, in terms of the last 40 games of the year, which is then, for them anyway, and the end of the regular season, they do have the most difficult schedule remaining in all of baseball. Dodgers have the easiest. So based on that, I just think that the Dodgers will probably win too many games, even if it's on accident.
Well, that's big, too. Look at the Padres' September schedule. There's 7 against Colorado. There's a Baltimore. There's some easy teams in there.
I got it right here. So this is a full season. Mm-hmm. They have 7 more against the Rockies, like you said, 3 White Sox, 3 Orioles, 3 Twins. Just avoid Joe Ryan. You might be good.
And this is big. The final week of the season, they play the Brewers. They might just not even play people.
Oh, could have the 1 seed wrapped up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. And then they also get 4 more against the Giants, which...
They're awful.
I mean, can you believe what's going on with that team?
I know. They lost 12-13 at home. They didn't even put up a fight in that series.
No, not even close.
Yeah.
And then 3 more against,
good enough.
The Diamondbacks.
Yeah, right.
Diamondbacks can be a little tricky, though.
Yeah, right. And then you have the Mets debacle, which...
How bad was that loss yesterday?
How bad was if you bet first 5? 6-0 in the 3rd inning, a 9 spot for Atlanta.
I think that has to be...
The starting pitching has been horrendous.
Yeah.
And they're in trouble now. They're just like right there with the Giants, how bad they're playing.
So all things considered, now from opening day until last night, that's one of the worst losses by any team. Like in the mix for a playoff spot. You get 6 off Carrasco, no problem. Or 5, like bases are loaded, 3 in the first. Guy's a total gas can. Not only can you not hold the lead, it's dunzo, like you said before the game was even half over, and you got blasted in the game. And you got Peterson, who's supposed to be one of your better guys on the mound.
I know. Bad.
Oh.
Yep. 1-0 Cubbies, top of the 6th in Toronto. And Hovland, your round 1 leader in the BMW. Season's biggest edges start before kickoff. Get yours with VSiN Pro. New subscribers get both the NFL and college football betting guides, your 1-2 punch for smart betting, team previews, power ratings, betting systems, and best bets from everyone. The morning email from Bill 80, every best bet, every host, every guest, the betting splits, market insights, dog videos, tools, data, prop analyzer, which you'll love with the NFL, Mackin and betting systems. Sign up today for $9.99 or get 50% off the pro annual plan. VSiN.com/subscribe. Get it now. Again, every pick. That's Nigel with soccer, Meat Man, whether WNBA, NFL, props, picks, sides, college football. Every ticket cash is the same. VSiN.com.
Yeah, well said. Did you look over your draft from yesterday anymore? Jensen Lewis, high praise for you on X earlier today. Morning show host right here on VSiN. I think he gave you the only A grade.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw this couple tweets. Yeah, I feel good about it. We'll see, though. But that's one injury, it blows up in your face.
Of course.
Come on, Jeff Seeley. Ricky Fowler with a share of the lead.
There you go.
How about that?
That'd be really nice.
Ricky Fowler, 3 under through 12. And Ben Griffin and Jason Day, 1 shot back.
Ricky was no doubt a nice number here for first-round leader.
Good call.
Okay, win-lose up next, and I will tell you about the stat. Saw it today. It blew my mind. It really tells you the story of how bad this team has been in recent weeks.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back as we're live in Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino here on a Thursday. Bet Bash is going on this week, the annual sports betting convention, and we're really looking forward to the next couple of segments here as Thomas Gable joins the program, the man in charge of the race and sports book at the Borgata in Atlantic City, and Richie Baccelleri, been in the racket for a long time, sports gambling Hall of Famer, both of us in studio for the next half an hour. Gentlemen, good afternoon. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
Doing well. It's always good to be out here and get to see some of the folks that I only typically communicate over the phone with through the years, and maybe once or twice in person during the year. So it's always good to catch up out here.
Yeah, it's always nice to sit with the 2 greatest sports degenerates I've ever met, and my good friend Tommy from Borgata.
Okay, so here's the plan, what we're going to do in the next half an hour. I can't wait to talk to both of you about player props and what the future might hold with those markets because of what continues to happen with pro athletes getting into trouble with those. Let's start with some college football futures. And Thomas, we'll begin with you. On the East Coast, I can probably take one guess at which team has been super popular because of proximity. That would be Penn State.
Yep.
But overall, like we keep hearing, people make the case for Clemson this year. They were very popular in our college football betting guide. We're talking like everything, right? Win total, ACC national title. Has that been the case with you as well?
Absolutely. Clemson right now is probably for the national title is our biggest liability right now. It's right there with Penn State. And we always get a lot of Penn State money. There's a lot of alumni. They're such a huge school, so not only spaced out through all of Pennsylvania, but also into South Jersey. So Penn State's always a popular play with us. And but Clemson, I think we opened them around 20-1, and they're down to 9-1 right now for the national title. So they've been taking money pretty much in all the markets you mentioned, and Penn State, the same thing. It's I think this year. As far as I go back with that program, I mean, there's what I would call cautious optimism around that fan base, and I use the word cautious just because of who the head coach is still. But there is optimism, and on paper they look tremendous. They probably have the best backfield in the country, and a rarity these days to have a third-year starter at quarterback in the same program. So. And the defense has, obviously they lost Abdul Carter, but Defense should still be strong, and they picked up a kid from Syracuse at wide receiver who looks pretty good. So I think the Nittany Lions will be there. You know, I guess fortunately for Franklin, in the past, Penn State was never really at that top tier of college football. They were kind of always, you know, underneath the Ohio States and Georgia's. But this year, you know, on paper at least, they're kind of right there. So there's, I guess, a little bit higher of expectations for them.
Follow up here then and go to Richie Baccellieri on this. You've been doing power ratings, college football, college basketball for long time. Where do those two teams sit amongst like your top 5, top 10, and how would you compare them to some of the best teams from last year?
Well, typically, my best teams with the ratings are in my numbers in the high 60s to very low 70s. And I noticed this year, and I don't handicap like the guys are doing, like Tom's talking about. I don't handicap the same way, but looking at the ratings, the top teams are down quite a bit off the top teams from previous years. I don't really see standouts. I mean, Penn State's a mid-60s team for me, whereas Ohio State is a 70. You look at Clemson, Texas, they're all in that mid-60s range, which basically makes any of those games roughly a pick 'em on neutral fields, or a 4 or 5 point dog against the top team from last year. I mean, that's the way I see it. Penn State, you mentioned Franklin, he doesn't seem to, produce in the big games, and you got, Clemson does seem to be up again this year, but that's up over previous down years, so they're getting back to a little bit where they were. Manning's probably a little bit, still uncharted, or where we don't know what we're going to get with Texas. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit more. I hate to use the word parity, but that I kind of see a little bit more, tighter, at the top, and Nil might have something, something to do with that too.
I'm intrigued by Ohio State because of what happened last year, where they're going to run day out of town.
Right.
And then the talent takes over, and they have the incredible run and win the title. But now they lose both coordinators.
Yeah.
So what do you think of the Buckeyes?
And Knowles goes to Penn State.
That's another one.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was a big pickup for Penn State there to do that within the conference. So, I mean, listen, I still have Ohio State pretty much rated right around Texas, at the top. But to Richie's point, there isn't that those top tier teams that you're used to seeing, and back at when Clemson was Clemson back in the day. I mean, it's they're not anywhere close to that right now.
Yeah. How about that big game Sunday night when Notre Dame goes to Miami? What do you think of those two programs, and what could happen? And maybe if Miami's too high, being ranked 10th.
What do you have that game?
Which Notre Dame at Miami?
Yes.
It's with the home field, probably about a pick 'em. Pick 'em. I don't know what the number is. I don't look at the numbers until I'm ready to make the prices. What's the number?
I think it's
2.5. I think it's 2.5.
Yeah.
What's your overall, Thomas? What's your overall on those two teams? Or what you think if they're capable of winning it all, or deep playoff run?
Both can obviously, I think, get into the playoffs. Notre Dame, I think right now is maybe priced around 12-1 for the title. Miami, don't know off the top of my head, but I mean, they're both certainly can get into the playoffs, and certainly do some. Listen, I think it's wide open this year. I really do.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So I want to ask you about this: the Stanford game playing at Hawaii. Stanford opened up about a 2.5 point favorite. And so it's right around the money line, right? So it's shifted now. Hawaii is either 2.5 points. Yep. In fact, I see a 1.5 right now on the screen. Can you tell us how much money it takes to move a game like that compared to if you were actually going to be around a key number of 3 or 7, and you would have maybe big movement that would go a 0.5 point either way?
Well, I think it depends on when bets are being placed. When you get bets that are being placed on a game like that, and Stanford Hawaii is not exactly a marquee matchup,
right?
But I think earlier in the week you'll see a lot more aggressive line movement. It's both the combination of the bookmakers trying to get to a number that they feel more confident with, and then it's also where the professional bettors might be up to their old tricks and maybe betting for lower limits, kind of moving the number where they want it to get.
Right.
There's always cat and mouse. I mean, I don't think it's really going to take a whole lot to make, to move that game a half a point.
I don't think
point.
so either, right? Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's already moved, 5.
Oh, yeah, we have right
Oh,
around
has
there.
it? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's Stanford opened 2.5, and now it's Hawaii.
Hawaii, yeah.
2.5. So yeah.
I did, in remembering a little bit about what I handicapped with Hawaii, they seem to be back a little bit. And,
A little bit, yeah.
I think Stanford, no, they're very down. So, yeah, I do. Yeah, I could see Hawaii being the favorite. They are the favorite?
They are, yeah.
Yeah, they
now
should
they are,
be.
yeah.
Stanford open. You say I missed one. Stanford open a road favorite, and
You did miss out.
I missed
all
it.
right. Number's gone.
another
But,
loser.
He's gone, yeah.
Loser.
Any interest in the game that starts, really kicks it off for us? I'm super intrigued by it. Iowa State and Kansas State
Kansas
playing
State,
across
yeah.
the pond. K-State as high as 4. That's the number here at Circa.
Yeah, we've actually taken some Iowa State money in that early, so we'll see. I mean, there's not a ton written on that game yet. Probably about the same amount as the Hawaii game right now. But we saw with Hawaii there was definitely early money come in on Hawaii, but as we get closer to game day there, and that's where probably 95% of the handles still to come, and maybe even more on that.
And so-
That's an interesting. It's an interesting game, and playing in Ireland or England, wherever they're at. Both teams look really good on paper. Iowa State's quarterback, Beck, I believe, is back. The other kid's back too. I think but each team returns a lot of players, a lot of starters. I saw Circus 4, and the market was like 3 late 20, 3.5 the dog. So Circa is the example of the line is up to 4 for a reason. It's Circus because did they take sharp money from people they respect, or did they take sharp money from people that respect giving them the wrong side to get the game up to 4?
There you go.
And I personally, I can't see the 4 neutral at all. I made Iowa State 1.
Oh, you did?
Straight ratings. Iowa State 1 over the other. So I don't play at Circa, and I'm hoping I could grab a 4, but I think it's going to come down.
Quickly here, Thomas, in like 30 seconds. Has it been, I'm guessing, nothing but under money on this Texas-Ohio State game?
Yeah, that's pretty much been it, right?
That's it?
Yeah, it's. I don't know. We'll see, and obviously that's the marquee game, right? To start out the season, where everybody's going to be piling in on. But it's been certainly early under money.
Let's follow the money here on VSiN. The Sports Betting Network will continue with Thomas Gable from the Borgata in Atlantic City, Richie Baccelleri, longtime odds maker, bookmaker, been in this racket for a long, long time. Up next, what does the future of player props look like as pro athletes continue to get into trouble? We'll ask him coming up next.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Big hour on tap as we're live in Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. In 15 minutes, we'll go over week 0, week 1, college football, some line moves in that sport. It's right around the corner. Steve Wist, the meat man, bottom of the hour, best bets in soccer for the weekend, and maybe a couple of futures as well. Right now, we head out to the Progressive Guest Line, longtime friend of the show in the network. Lou Finicaro joins the program. Follow him on X. He is at GamLou. We're going to get his analysis and best bets on UFC 319. Always good to see you, Uncle Lou. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
Thanks for having me in, guys. Great time of year. We got the UFC marching, and football's right around the corner. This is our month.
Let's begin with the main event. Look, I fell for it. Chimaev took the world by storm. How could he not? He was unbelievable. When we first saw him get on the scene, a couple of years back, he's in this main event against Duplessis, and Chimaev is favored around minus 250 in that neighborhood, give or take, of the main event. Overall, your thoughts on what we're going to see on Saturday night and that number?
My overall thoughts are that you don't want to miss this main event and maybe 1 or 2 fights on this card. This card's really full. It's got some great matchups, and this one, the most intriguing of all of them. You have in Chimaev a monster, basically, and he started taking the UFC by storm because he could fight at 170 and mow guys down, and then fight at 185 and mow guys down, which is what he did. But his level of competition was not elite and has not been elite. In fact, when you look at the fact that he beat Gil Burns, a fight he was in trouble in, and he also beat Kamaru Usman, a fight he was struggling in and won via decision, you got to understand that Usman took the fight on short notice, traveled around the world, and Usman's the 170-pound champ. He fought Chimaev at 85. He was undersized when he tested Chimaev deep, and Burns is a 155-pound fighter that late in his career had to fight at 170. He fought Chimaev at 170, giving away tremendous amounts of size, and he had Chimaev stunned. So Chimaev's taken a lot of time off between that last fight, which was his last fight, a devastating win against Robert Whittaker, a former champ. And so the monster, the boogeyman rapport is all back. But he hasn't proven it to me. Now in Duplessis, we get a legitimate middleweight, a guy that after he weighs in at 185 on Friday is going to show up at the cage at 210, 12 pounds. Now, Chimaev's big. He's going to gain that much weight too. But my point is Chimaev is now in against a legitimate elite middleweight. And until he proves it to me, he's not the 200 favorite. I think that Duplessis stands a great chance to win this fight. He's going to have to weather one furious first round storm. But I think the way he's going to try and do it is the exact same way Hagler attacked Hearns many, many years ago, by meeting force with force. Duplessis is going to go out there and try and bully the bully, and that's why you don't want to miss this fight.
Very good. Great analysis. Looking forward to that one. How about, you're a big dog player, no surprise there. How about Murphy plus 150? State the case here. Break it down.
Yeah, a fight that I had been going back and forth with because Pico, who arrives from Bellator and has done great work. He's an elite wrestler, has good hands, but he's going, from the AFC, or I should say the AFL, to the NFL. He's stepping up in class. He's going to have to feel some nerves, and he takes on a guy in Murphy that's a legit elite top 6 in his division. And so this fight is going to be, I think, way more competitive than it shows. Murphy will have to find a way to keep this fight on the feet, and if he does, advantage will be his. I like the fact that Murphy is the more pedigreed, experienced UFC fighter. Again, just like the main event, the younger man, Pico's going to have to prove it to me in this fight.
I'm not even going to try with his opponent's name. Michael O against Meerschaert. You like Meerschaert? He's plus 195, but you got to get creative in this fight. Why do you like the dog here?
I like the dog in here because Michael O is a very determined striker. Used to fight at 205. He was so undersized. Now he fights at 185. He's a tiger. The problem is Michael O can't spell wrestling. He can't execute any wrestling. And when he gets in trouble, it's with guys that are his size or larger that can take him down and get him onto the floor. That's how he gets beat, via submission. What's Meerschaert? Only a fair striker. So as long as this fight's on the feet, it's all Michael O. But Meerschaert is a world-class grappler. And if he gets Michael O against the cage, he's a larger, bigger man and gets him down. That's the beginning of the end of this fight. Meerschaert's a decent dog, but Meerschaert's path to victory is a submission. Meerschaert via decision plus 400. That's where I would steer you in that fight.
Well, I'll tell you what, his last name takes down spelling bees across the world. I mean,
Michael O.
Michael O.
Olszewski.
Yeah, that's a rough one right there.
Oh.
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, Meerschaert 4-1, Murphy plus 150, Duplessis 2-1, do better in that range as well. Chimaev will probably go off higher as well. How about Chase Hooper inside the distance? You're not laying at 280. We know you, Uncle Lou. What do you want to do with Hooper?
Yeah, Hooper inside the distance, I'm seeing plus 100. That's very, very fair. Hooper entered the UFC at about 20. He was long, gangly, green, and actually got the brakes beat off him a couple times. But he's evolved. He's grown into his body. He's gone from 145 to 155. He's going to be the taller, longer, younger athlete against Hernandez, who's got power in his hands. but this fight's only going to stay standing for a while until the longer Hooper envelops Hernandez, takes him down. Hooper submission plus 150. I don't want to get that cocky. I think Hooper inside the distance plus 100 is more than fair, and I think he gets there.
Okay, let's go to the gals now. Godinez, $1.50 in that range. 2.5 over minus $3. What do you think of the female fight?
I think that if I walk into a saloon and there's a bunch of bikers there that are looking to get into a fight, that I hope I got both of these girls on my side with me because they're both just feisty bulldogs and they're ready to go. Godinez, Mexican, can wrestle and strike and box. And on the other side, Andrade, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. She's tough, but she's had some personal problems. The UFC is acquiescing her and allowing her to earn. She's had some financial issues. She takes a ton of fights, and I think she's just been too active, and I think she's ripe for Godinez. Godinez is a small favorite in this fight. I think you take her via decision when you look at the total in the fight, Paul. 2.5 rounds over, like minus $1 million. Mm-hmm. So they're telling you the fight's going to decision. Let's take Godinez via decision and get that price closer to even money.
Okay. Trying to see what... Yep, plus 105 at Circa. Okay, beautiful. Thanks, my man. Great to talk to you. We'll see you soon.
Guys, thanks for having me, and good luck, everybody.
Lou Finicaro at Gamlu on X. About Business podcast on the Progressive Guest Line. Where do you stand with Chimaev?
I have to watch the fight on Saturday.
Yeah, I know, but I'm with you. But it was a good breakdown from Lou in terms of what he started out to be. How good is he, or was it some tomato cans?
Of course, I mean that could catch up with him at some point.
He's been in trouble in a couple of those fights,
right?
Yeah,
I mean, but how many?
He's a mean son of a gun,
right? How many guys overall make you want to absolutely, because they have the fight night here at Stadium Swim, which is like the best spot in the world to watch this stuff, or to like order a fight.
Fight Club, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, how many other guys in the UFC make you say, you know what? I know what my plans are going to be on Saturday. He's at the very top of the list, right?
Yep, that's right.
All right.
This guy's here.
Updated golf score.
This is wild.
Your guy, Tom Hoagie, did birdie on 8, so he is 2 under right now, 2 back of Scheffler. Guess what happened? Scheffler is now the solo leader because Jason Day gave one back on 18 or 17? I think it was 17 the way it looks. Now Scheffler's even money.
Right.
To be the first round leader. Fleetwood's 4-1, Rose plus 650.
I want to look and see what these are. I want Hoagie.
Hoagie was 50-1 when you brought him up. He's now down. He's between 11 and 14-1 right now.
Still, yeah, want Hoagie. And I have to leave the building to place the bet. It will not recognize my location. Yeah.
And for people who have us on, they're also watching the golf. They're listening to us. Robert McIntyre went into the lake.
Thank you.
On 12, gave one back, but he was 30-1. Now he's down to 16-1. So he's got a handful of holes left here. Burns
great sweat. If they can't birdie, it's a great sweat. Because then Scheffler's the only guy at 4 under, and then can these guys at 2 under catch him? And there's still a lot of guys out there on the back 9. And Hoagie's got a lot of time. He's only on the 9th hole. Let's
see here. Spawn just parred number 10. He's at 1 under. Would you want to look at somebody like him?
I'd rather take Aubert, he's on 9.
Well, and Aubert is 1 under so far.
We missing anybody down the list?
Yeah, Cam Young.
It was delayed. Yeah, it was delayed earlier.
I'll tell you some guys with a lot of golf left. Morikawa is even through 11.
Don't want any part of him.
Okay, Cam Young's even through 9. Can he get hot to make it a threat here? We've talked about like every other golfer so far on the list that has some decent amount of golf left anyway. Fleetwood is 2 under through 10. Like, that's the kind of guy that you want to be on Thursday, but you want nothing to do with him on Sunday.
Yeah.
But Fleetwood's also plus 360 right now.
Stick with Hoagie. I just want Hoagie.
I put a little bit on Hoagie at 14.
Come on, Ben. But it's Ben Griffin's in the mix every time.
Well,
These
not every
top-
time, because you got off him for a while.
Well, the top 10, top 5s, though, too, I'm saying. You know, he's like, if he just had a good round on Sunday, he would have cashed several top 5, top 10s the last couple of weeks, too.
Yeah, we'll talk college football coming up next, right around the corner, and some of these line moves that we have for Week 0 and Week 1 here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Talk some soccer here, get some best bets for the weekend, and also some futures, Paulie, in the Prim. I think this is like becoming your favorite sport to bet on. Look at the smile on your face
This
right
is
now.
great.
That's
Yeah.
a rarity, man.
We got it.
And we head out here to the Progressive Guest Line as a friend of the show, Steve Wiss, joins the program. Follow him on X. He is at Meatman Soccer. He is with the Nordic Football Podcast and also Because We Win. Steve, good afternoon. Let's begin here at the very top. What would your power ratings look like in terms of the best 3 to 4 teams in the Prim before we get started in this league? And then you're going to recommend Liverpool at plus 180. Why did you land on them?
Yeah, good day to you guys. Hope you're doing really well. And exciting times. Premier League returns. Friday's the first match, Liverpool-Bournemouth. Liverpool, for me, are going to be the title winner. And at plus 180, I think they're a really good bet. Unfortunately, one of their top players died over the summer, Diogo Jota. Everyone saw that. That's really sad for the club. But they're an emotional sort of team. The support base, I think, are going to get right behind them. And they'll probably win the title for him. They're that sort of club who will do that. But some of the transfers they've brought in have been really, really good dealings. Okay, they've lost Trent Alexander-Arnold, but they brought in Florian Wirtz from Bayer Leverkusen, who might just be, in Europe, maybe the best sort of Swiss Army knife attacker in the whole of Europe because he can play anywhere. It's absolutely loaded, and they're still not stopping doing business. Liverpool are probably going to sign Alexander Isak, the Newcastle striker, before the end of the transfer window. I mean, this is possibly the best striker in the world, best finisher in the world, some would say. Just look, the squad is absolutely loaded. If as soon as Isak comes to the club, those odds will probably go to plus 125 to win the Premier League. So for me, they just are the standout team. You ask about power ratings there. Behind Liverpool, I mean, for me, it's a clear top 4, and it's the top 4 in the betting. Arsenal, Manchester City, and Chelsea. In terms of what order behind Liverpool, I'm not sure. You could make a case for all of them 3. At the moment, I'm actually leaning Arsenal 2nd, Chelsea 3rd, Man City 4th. But that seems to change day by day for me right now. So it's a difficult one. I mean, you might want to ask me some questions about some of the other teams as well in the top 10. But that would be the way my power rankings go. And Liverpool has got to be the bet to win the title at plus 180.
Yep, first time since 15-16. City's not the favorite. And a little support for Chelsea in the markets. There was some 12-1s out there not that long ago as well. Walk us through, the top 10 the table and some other teams like a Newcastle and maybe some other clubs like that, Man U, if they could do something.
Manchester United are possibly the hardest team to predict. The big advantage for them, they're not involved in Europe, so they can focus entirely on the Premier League and the domestic cups as well. If this Manchester United is any good, they should minimum get back in the top 10 and probably get back in the top 8. Quite how high, I'm not sure. Newcastle, I think, will struggle. I mentioned they're probably going to lose Isak. They've really struggled in the transfer market. No one seems to want to come to Newcastle, guys. They've missed out on all their targets. So I think Newcastle will drop out of the top 6, let alone top 4. Tottenham are an interesting case. I like Brighton. I think Brighton are definitely a team to be get them on your side this season in the matches. Top 10 definitely, possibly top 8, possibly even top 6. Really well-run club. The boss of Brighton is a renowned big bettor. He knows his stuff.
Yes.
I tell you what, the transfer business is superb for Brighton, so they would be a good side to watch out for. Bournemouth, I think, will drop down the table a little bit because they've lost some key players.
Okay, how about some props? How about Brentford to be relegated, 3-1?
Yes. Now, normally, recently, the teams that have come up from the Championship go straight back down. This might be a season, though, where one or two of those teams could survive. I think hopefully Leeds, my own team, will survive. I'm not sure they will, but I think they might just. Sunderland have spent nearly $200 million. So they're giving it a good chance, which means there might be some other teams vulnerable. And Brentford are the big one for me. They've lost Brian Mbeumo to Manchester United. And Johan Visser is probably going to go to Newcastle when Isaac leaves Liverpool. Isaac leaves Newcastle. Between those two, 39 goals and 11 assists. Like that is Brentford are not going to be able to replace those players. They've also lost their manager, Thomas Frank, to Tottenham. Tottenham nearly beat PSG in the Super Cup last night. That's a really good manager. He's been one of the main reasons they've been doing so well recently. And they've just hired in someone called Keith Andrews, who was basically the set piece coach. And, no managerial experience. This could be one of the worst managerial hires ever. They're normally really well run. Another boss who's a better. But I think this gamble, I think, is not going to pay off for him. I think Brentford plus 300 to get relegated is got to be worth a bet, guys.
Ooh, excellent. The Meat Man, our guest, Steve Wyss, at Meat Man Soccer on X, because we win potties on the Progressive Guest Line, but Premier League starts tomorrow. How about Cole Palmer for Chelsea? Most goals, 20-1.
Well, I think Erling Haaland is the favourite, about plus 125. And that's a fair favourite. If Erling Haaland stays fit the whole season, he probably will be the top scorer. But we know he has an injury record. He usually misses a month somewhere with injury. Liverpool have got so many attackers that I'm not sure Mo Salah will be the top scorer. He'll score a lot of goals, but I don't think he's going to maybe get to the levels he's got. Isak's the 6-1 price. We don't know where he's going to play yet, so we can't really bet on him. Cole Palmer, 20-1 looks a big price to me. Chelsea have got loads of players, but the one man we know he's always going to play week in, week out is Cole Palmer. He will play. He might get arrested occasionally, but he's going to play. If he stays fit, 34, 35 games he'll start. He scored 22 goals 2 seasons ago. He scored 15 goals last season. And he had a really cold period, sort of January through to maybe March, really. But he came back into form in the Club World Cup. He's on penalties. This is an absolute star player. I think he's going to be one of the big players for England in next year's World Cup. And at 20-1, he can absolutely make a good account of himself. I mean, look at the others there at 20-1. João Pedro, he's not going to play enough minutes. Sesko at Man United. Gyökeres at Arsenal, I'm not sure he's going to settle in. And as I said, the Liverpool players, there's just too many Liverpool attackers to fit them all in the team at the same time. So Cole Palmer for me at 20-1 is a big price.
Quick follow-up on this. Last year, Salah led the league with 29 goals. Previous years, you might need to get to 30 to take it down. What's a realistic number you think that Palmer has to have to actually win this?
I think he's got to get to 25 goals.
25.
I think if you get to 20, if you get 25, you've got a chance. And he's proved scored 22 goals 2 seasons ago, so he's got it in his locker. He could really be a big price here if some of the others fail. As I say, if Haaland stays fit the whole season, Haaland probably wins it. But he always has like a month where he's injured, so I'd rather take a chance to oppose him.
Premier League starts tomorrow. Good slate Saturday and Sunday. Week 1 bets. How about 2 unders out of the gate? Nottingham Forest, Brentford, and Tottenham against Burnley. Take it away, Meat.
I just mentioned Brentford have basically lost 2 players who've scored 39 goals and 11 assists. Wyss has not left the club yet, but he's confirmed he's not playing. So I don't see Brentford scoring here against one of the best defences in the Premier League last season. Nottingham Forest home fixtures average just 2.2 goals per game. In Nottingham Forest in the pre-season, they've played seven pre-season friendlies. They've scored 1 goal. Ooh. They've had 5 0-0s in pre-season. Ooh. So, the 0-0 detector might be in operation here, but it's more likely to be 1-0 Nottingham Forest. Under 2.5 goals at minus 105. That's a massive, massive price. This goal line should be 2.25 or 2. It has to be the under.
All right, let's cash that ticket. How about Tottenham and Burnley? Burnley promoted. 2.75 goals.
Burnley conceded 16 goals last season in 46 games in the Championship. They based their promotion on the defence. So nothing's going to change with their style. Obviously, it's a lot more difficult in the Premier League. But Burnley, if you look at their pre-season results, no one's scoring goals for them. I don't think they'll score here. Everyone watched Tottenham against PSG yesterday evening. And I think defensively, they look quite good in general, apart from the last 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. There's a bit more of a hardness, a toughness about them under Thomas Frank. So we can get a goal line here under of 2.75. Which that looks a bit too high for me. I think the presumption is that Tottenham are going to easily win, but Burnley will defend for their lives. Again, I think we're probably looking at maybe 1-0, 2-0 to Tottenham. I don't see the away team scoring. So could be quite a dire game, really. Tottenham might be tired as well after playing against PSG midweek. So the under makes a ton of sense once more.
60 seconds. You had a winner with them a couple weeks ago. League Two, Chesterfield to beat Bristol, $1.35.
Yeah, I'm going to keep riding this hot train of Chesterfield. 2 wins out of 2. They've not conceded a goal yet.
Yeah.
Simple pick on the money line, -137. Could be an emotional day for Chesterfield. Their owner, Phil Kirk, sadly, has gone into palliative care from cancer treatment. And I think the players are going to give a big, big response here. When you've got a situation like this, it can often be the extra percentages are in your favour. Bristol Rovers actually is they're playing against. Have lost 2 games out of 2. They lost against my local team, Harrogate Town, in week 1. That's not good.
Yeah.
And they've lost on their last 3 visits to Chesterfield as well. So I think again we're looking at probably. I keep mentioning 1-0 today, don't I? 1-0 or 2-0 to Chesterfield looks a very, very likely outcome here. It's my best bet in the lower leagues for this weekend.
Very good. You can follow Steve on X. He is at Meatman Soccer, part of the Nordic Football Podcast. And Because We Win, and he was on the Progressive Guest Line. Thanks, Steve. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
There you go. Incredible sweat going on right now.
Awesome.
Odds are changing every 10 seconds at the BMW for the first round leader. We'll update that and get into in-pocket plays next here on VSiN.